Hey everyone, so today we'll be doing our analysis on Parktown Residences. Will this be the town where you park your money and capital here? That's what we're going to find out today. So we'll head into the project framework as always. Number 1, the rapid fire information. Number 2, the site plan analysis. Number 3, the floor plan analysis and which are the particular units that I will avoid or go for. Number 4, why I would not buy Parktown Residences. Number 5, why I will actually buy Parktown Residences. Number 6, the price prediction. And number 7, our evergreen scorecard. We don't have a crystal ball, we don't have our LV lamp today. So the most important thing is this, we can't predict the future. But the most important part is whether good times or bad times can you exit or not. And that will contribute to our evergreen scorecard. So depending on the price they are going to be launching and how I anticipate it to be, I will give my evergreen scorecard until the point where we actually receive more info on the price. So before we head on to the rapid fire information, remember to like, share and subscribe if you like what we have been doing so far. So number 1, let's begin our rapid fire information. Parktown Residences is a joint venture between Capital Land Development, UOL Group, as well as Singapore Land Group Limited. These are 3 renowned developers that have developed a lot of mixed developments, shopping malls, residentials, so you get a combination of expertise within their own field. Capital Land has owned so many malls in Singapore and most importantly, they are the forefront runners of commercial buildings. So you go into CBD, you will see a lot of commercial buildings helmed by Capital Land itself. UOL, they are no strangers to residential developments. They always create the most effective layouts, but most importantly, they have a niche and expertise in choosing good lands and purchasing lands at a very affordable price so that they can also translate this low costing to the consumers. If you realize their past track records with the likes of Trevor, Principal Gardens, Clairvon, Clement Canopy, all of these, they always enter the area with first movers advantage, buying the land at very reasonable pricing so that they can translate low costing to the consumers, which in turn, the consumers will benefit and experience a very strong profit. But if you realize they always go for something long-term, comfortable for living, you always realize that they will choose something that faces the trees, the rivers, something that's very livable to ensure long-term sustainability of prices. So if we do a little bit more analysis, you will realize we go by the cycle of every 3 years. You will realize that they always have this long-term appreciation that you can get from a UOL development. So moving forward, this is District 18, land tenure of 99 years, starting from 9 October 2023, 1193 units, targeted TOP date of end 2028, expected date of handover would be of course 30th June 2030. It's sitting on a site area of 50,679 square meters with a gross plot ratio of 2.5 and a permissible GFA of 126,700 square meters. It's a mixed-use development, integrated transport hub as well. Car park lots, you have 961 car park lots, including 10 lots equipped with EV charging and 7 accessible lots. Integrated development amenities comes with a retail mall, a transport hub, MRT and aircon bus interchange, Green Boulevard, community club, community plaza and a hawker center. Wow. So it's like a little town. That's why it's called Parktown Residence ma. So the last time round this happened is actually Reserve Residences, which is in Upper Bukit Timah, as well as Woodleigh Residences, which is in the Bidadari estate itself. So this time round, I think the government is doing a little bit different. They are planting the mall, the integrated hub first before the surrounding infrastructure. So thinking about that, we'll analyze it later. Moving on to the site plan analysis. So if we look at the land size itself, for Parktown Residences, it is sitting on a land of about 50,000 square meters. Comparing to the last 2 predecessors of integrated hub, integrated transport hub, we actually have Woodleigh Residences as well as Reserve Residences. Reserve Residences sits on a land of about 32,000 square meters, while Woodleigh Residences is about half the size at 25,000 square meters. So I think the government is really putting in a lot of resources to develop Tampines North area to make it a very crucial hub in the area to serve the whole Tampines township. So if we look at the site plan here itself, it's split between, because of the sheer land size, it's split between Park West and Park East. Both sites have their own individual pools. One more acting like a lap pool, the other one will be more like a resort style shape pool, all right, to cater to the different needs of the residences. Total, there are actually 12 blocks all evenly spaced out, with Park East having more distance between the blocks as compared to Park West, where the opposite blocks itself between Block 3 and Block 9 have a closer distance compared to how Park East is actually positioned. If you look at the blocks in Park East itself, from blocks 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21 and 23, they are actually quite evenly spread out with a very good distance between each other. This itself is something that adds to my evergreen scorecard, because when you buy a house that time, especially for myself, when I buy a unit that time, I hope that even though I'm facing the neighbors or facing the facilities like a pool view or landscaping view, I hope to be further away from the neighbors so that I can get more privacy on its own. Of course, if you come to see my house today, my house is facing the unblocked view of Nassim and Napier lah, even more zai. Alright, but of course, when we look at the mass market residential, it's hard to get unblocked views because of the infrastructure development in the area. So if we are always looking at premium views like the pool views or facilities landscaping view, the distance between the blocks actually makes a difference, and that is something that I always look at when I go and choose my developments. As compared to Park West itself, that's the part where everything seems to be a bit more narrower. I would actually expect in due time to see that the prices in the Park West side may actually price a bit lower just to attract more people to come in. Of course, the distance may be a bit more narrower, but if you're running on a tighter budget, choosing something here may give you a first mover's advantage in terms of entry price. So now if we look at the facilities, these are all the facilities here. Total, you have 20 aquatic facilities, 8 gardens, groves and trails, 2 lawns, 6 pools, 6 lounge, 3 decks, 6 fitness facilities, 6 dining pavilion and 3 lifestyle pavilion. All this is to cater to the lifestyle needs of the residents. So always remember, the URA policies have already been tweaked to make sure that it is sustainable living. Why is this important? Because as long as it is comfortable for dwelling, there will always be a natural demand coming in. And whenever I see site plans like this is something that has followed the URA policies very well. We are very confident that the residents, especially with more than 1,000 residences, with such extensive facilities, it will cater to their homestay needs and family needs. And in that sense, they will always be able to attract more people to come in to take a look at it from a resale point of view. And furthermore, to add, if you look at it, they have tucked the tennis court onto the top right corner together with the genset, so on and so forth, because these are crucial details that resale buyers look at in the future that may affect your exit strategy. By tucking these 2 amenities on the top right hand corner, it ensures that none of the units will get the disadvantage. Maybe the one closest like stack 75, 76 and 85, 86 right beside it may get a little bit of disruption, but at least they are not directly facing it, which will affect their views and future exit strategy. And the key thing to take note, I'm sure you have seen something like that similar in East Coast, which is called the continuum. You will see that they have 2 lanes with a road separating each other. The beauty of this one, despite it having 2 sides of things, is all connected together, with the central part, as we zoom down here, being able to have a trail to cross over to each other's facilities. And this of course will create the cohesive environment that a residential development should have and must have. Number 3, we move on to the floor plan analysis. Now there are 38 floor plans to look at. I'm definitely not going to go through 38 here. Our video will be super long. So I've actually have the streamlined floor plans here for you. Their differences are mostly in the foyer area. Alright, so of course, depending on your ballot number on that day and the choice and the options that you have on that day, definitely the only difference here is of course the foyer area. My take is this: go for the ones with little foyer area so that you pay for your bang for buck, so that you don't pay for extra space. But we understand during a balloting process, we don't really have that much of a choice and control. So of course, if it's not too overwhelmingly excessive foyer space, I think it's still okay, because we can actually, as owners ourselves, go and put a shoe cabinet there to make use of the foyer space to add value to the unit for our future exit strategy. Right, so now we start off by looking at the 1 bedroom plus study. It is 506 square feet. Take note that Parktown Residence itself is a harmonized development, so the AC latch is not considered into your strata area. They are mostly situated in the Park East portion of Parktown Residences. Mainly this is the not so premium side of things where they put the 1 bedrooms as well. They are mostly in block 13, 15, 17, 19, 21 and 23 and 11 facing outwards rather than into the pool view. If we look at here, the unique selling points of this layout has been highlighted. It has more internal space, it has a galley kitchen, it has a space for your dining area, as well as able to squeeze in a study together with your master bedroom. So if we look at this, actually this is quite a versatile layout, but do take note, this is not one of the 1 bedroom plus study layout that I personally like. Can anybody guess why or not? Remember to like, share and subscribe while you are guessing. Alright, but now I'm going to let you know. To me, this 1 plus study layout may not be the most ideal layout for 1 bedroom plus study because it does not have a Jack and Jill toilet access. Why I say that? Because now it means that, imagine today if you were to seal off your study area and combine it with your master bedroom. Your guest who is visiting your house have to walk through your master bedroom or study just to get to the toilet. Right? Even if you don't seal it off, imagine you are just doing some work in your study, they have to walk past you just to get to the toilet. It is very different from the usual layouts that I always compare to, where the 1 plus study with the Jack and Jill toilet access allows guests to just access the toilet directly from the dining or living room area. This is a little bit of a minus point or a disadvantage when it comes to this kind of 1 bedroom plus study layout. But of course, if you are starting off with your building capital journey, having something in a integrated transport hub may actually give you a little bit more advantage and mitigate this. Now move forward, we look at the 2 bedroom, which is 592 square feet. Given that it's harmonized, 592 square feet is actually our previous versions of maybe 614 or 624 square feet, that kind of range, you understand what I mean. And if we look at it, the unique selling points have been highlighted. It is a dumbbell layout with between the wall to wall of the living, from the wall to the TV, a separated dining area, a galley kitchen, as well as the 2 bedrooms at the sides. This one itself, the good thing to take note, this is a 2-bed 1 bath. It has the Jack and Jill access. This is the kind of layout that we should be looking for your future exit strategy. But what I'm a little bit concerned down here regarding this layout is actually the dining area. Because usually we will put the dining area right after the kitchen and then followed by the bedroom doors, so that to create the separation between living and dining. But for this layout itself, there's a bit of squeeze down here where they are squeezing the living and dining together. So you may actually feel a little bit congested when you are sitting down watching TV in your living room. The units are mostly in Block 5, Block 9. To me, Park West itself have lesser blocks. It may actually be a little bit more premium, and they are facing mostly also on the outer side of the blocks rather than internally where it faces the landscaping and the pool facilities. Same thing in Block 15, which is in the Park East itself. It faces the external portion of the project. Now if we look at the 2 bedroom premium, which is 678 square feet, take note again, harmonized. So by right, pre-harmonized would be about 732 square feet. Thereabouts, that kind of version, or a 700 square feet 2 bedroom. This is the 2 bedroom dumbbell layout. As you walk in from the main entrance, you get your enclosable kitchen. That's something to look out for. And then as we walk in here, as we can see in the living and dining, this was what I meant as compared to the 2-bed 1 bath. This 2-bed 2 bath dumbbell layout has a separated living and dining with the doors of the bedroom separate, creating that separation of space between the living and dining as well. So if we look at it, bedroom 2 on the left, master bedroom on the right, 2 bathrooms with Jack and Jill access for the 2nd bathroom, and of course your master bath. Like what I say, every time when you choose a 2 bedrooms, make sure that it can do an enclosable kitchen. To me, I give a thumbs up for this layout down here for the 2 bedrooms because this is the ideal layout for your future exit strategy. And given this, there's one more plus point and added point down here. They are mainly in Block 7, 3 and 1 that is facing the internal landscaping portion. So they are really giving you the best of many worlds for this 2 bedroom layout, catering to your homestay needs or your investment needs. Now we move on to the 2 bedroom premium plus study, 764 square feet. Again, harmonized, so we are actually enjoying the harmonized effects. Otherwise, this will actually be an 800 square feet 2 bedroom plus study. All right, and with that, that will drive the quantum up. But by keeping it at 764 square feet, you get a 2 plus study, keeping the quantum optimal. And you can see from here, based on the site plan, they are all mainly in Block 5, 9, 1, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19 and 21 that mainly faces the facilities, the pool view and the landscaping. Again, it runs by the dumbbell layout, similar to the 2 bedroom premium. And then the minute we enter the entrance, you have your enclosable kitchen on the left, and then your separated living and dining area, and then your 2 bedrooms on the left and right with the Jack and Jill access for bathroom 2 for your utmost privacy. They optimally use the space by adding the study after the master bathroom below, which is a very good place to put it at, because imagine you can use this study for many usages. You can construct a partition down there for your storage or maybe for your domestic helpers needs as well. So this 2-bedroom plus study is very sustainable in terms of homestay living. It really caters to small families or people or consumers who are buying their first property and running on a really tight budget. 2 plus study actually may well be able to kickstart your building capital process, but most importantly, ensuring a good exit strategy as well. Alright, so now as we enter the 3-bedroom floor plans, we start off with the 926 square feet, mainly in block 1, 3 and 7 at the Park West portion of the development, facing the external of the development rather than the landscaping itself. This is one of the most effective layouts you can get for a 3-bedroom compact. This is the dumbbell layout. Coming in, you will be greeted with the enclosed kitchen, followed by a separated living and dining area in the center. On the left, you have bedroom 2. On the right, you have bedroom 3 and the master bedroom, with the bathrooms running in parallel to the bedrooms itself. So of course, this itself is one of the most effective way and optimal way you can use a 926 3-bedroom. Take note, this is something for all those who are starting to build their capital or looking for a lower quantum 3-bedroom. This is something that you can really look at given the limited supply and shortage of supply of 3-bedroom compact in the entire market right now. If you go and look at all developments, there is not much 3-bedroom compact left. You can only go for the 3-bedroom premiums and it may actually burst your quantum. So I understand why some of the consumers are waiting for launches like Parktown, Ori or what, because it gives them fresh options for the 3-bedroom compact rather than a huge quantum jump, because a minimum 3-bedroom premium, anything that's above 1,000 square feet, would cost around 2.3 to 2.5 mil in the current launches that are in the market right now. So by having Parktown, it gives people fresh options of a 3-bedroom compact. We understand that a lot have been priced out. This is a viable option for your building capital process and your future stepping up platform. Next, we go into the 3-bedroom premium, where it's the 1066 square feet. Mainly, they are in block 13. Alright, and of course, they have both facings of the internal facilities linking to Park West as well as the Park East pool view facing. And if we look at the layout, this is one of the most effective layout you can get in a 3-bedroom premium. Walking in here, you are greeted with this foyer space where you can put your shoe cabinet storage. And then of course on the left, you have your kitchen and your yard area with the WC. And then of course we have the bomb shelter for your storage needs. Here we have the designated dining and living room space, followed by a balcony. This is your traditional 3-bedroom layout with all the bedrooms on the left or right. So the key thing to take note is this: for the toilets itself, all bathrooms are naturally ventilated with windows. This is something that we look out for, especially when it comes to 3-bedroom premium, to make sure that your exit strategy is clear. And followed by, of course, the yard and the WC and the extra storage space that you get in the bomb shelter. These are things that big families or sizable families really need. So this is one of the best layouts you can get in terms of the 3-bedroom premium. Looking back at the 3-bedroom compact layout, the 926 square feet one, we also realized one more thing, which is the kitchen does not have a window. So this is something that may affect the exit strategy in future, because families cook. And if you don't have a window for natural ventilation in the kitchen, it may well consideration for resale buyers. So now moving back, 3-bedroom premium plus study. It is 1163 square feet. This is where the quantum starts to get a bit bigger. As we walk in here, you are greeted with a L-shaped foyer. This is the place where usually people will put their shoe storage or build cabinets for whatever storage purposes. Similarly, replicating the 3-bedroom premium kitchen, you are greeted with the yard, bomb shelter, WC. Separated living and dining, queen bed for all common bedrooms. All bathrooms are naturally ventilated with windows. Spacious master bedroom with king size bed. This is of course the 3-bedroom premium plus study. They are mostly facing the external part of Parktown Residences, with only 2 stacks facing internally. And if you look at the 2 stacks itself, one of them actually faces the corner of another block, which may not be so ideal for some people. Another stack here, stack 45 itself, also faces the corner of block 13, which may not be so ideal in terms of feng shui also. So these are some things that I also personally look at, because I don't like to be facing corners. Whether you believe in feng shui or not, sometimes you still will feel a little bit of that poking energy coming to you, if you all understand what I mean. Now we move on to the 4 bedrooms for 1335 square feet. This just looks exactly like the 3-bedroom premium, but with a wider living room space of 4 meters. Alright, and if we look at that, you can easily fit in a 10-seater dining set, followed by a good living room, like what, a 4-5-seater with side chairs as well. So looking at it, 4 meters, this is a portrait layout. Ever since harmonization came in, 4 bedrooms, we don't really see that much of landscape layouts unless they are bigger. Same, the kitchen, yard and the bomb shelter replicates the same thing that we see in a 3-bedroom premium. followed by the 4 bedrooms all on one side with the bathrooms parallel in the corridor. Next, we have the 4 bedroom premium of 1496 square feet. Now this is where the quantum really gets very, very big. So depending on the kind of PSF that the developer is going to be launching at, we need to really see whether is this a viable investment or even good purchase for own stay usage. So if we look at it, we are greeted with this L-shaped corridor coming in, which is the foyer space. Again, yeah, you can put a lot more shoes, but to me, I think there's quite a fair bit of wastage here in terms of the 1496 square feet, because if you can look at here, you got a very long L-shaped corridor before even hitting your dining area. Now, this is a combination of a portrait / landscape layout. I don't even know what to call it, because you get a very wide frontage of 4.5 meters with the length of 6.6 meters. So to me, this is the best of both worlds in a way where you get a good landscape come portrait layout in a way. So it's a big square for you to really fit in big furnitures. Kitchen, WC, yard, as well as the bomb shelter mimics something like a 3-bedroom, but of course bigger, and then followed by the 4 bedrooms with a junior master suite. This is the difference between the normal 4 bedroom and the 4 bedroom premium. To me, this layout itself is actually a very, very nice layout. You gotta take a look at the show flat for yourself. But to me, I feel that there is actually quite a fair bit of wastage in terms of the foyer area as well as the corridor area, which makes the whole layout not so efficient. I mean, with the URA policies already in place, all the bedroom sizes are generally above 8.8 square meters. So there's nothing to complain about for the bedroom sizes, but I do feel that the foyer area here should be reduced. Followed by the 5 bedroom premium. These are for multi-generation families as well as very big families. Anyway, because of the low supply in the entire Singapore of 5 bedrooms, in general, if you buy a homestay demand area, buying a 5 bedrooms can't really go that wrong. And it always comes to mind where people ask about the affordability. I've shown before in my previous videos where our income far exceeds our property price right now. So in a way, we have a very good buffer. People can really buy and afford it right now. So your exit strategy is even clear, because in a high demand area of homestay and a low supply of units of 5 bedrooms, this is the perfect formula for your appreciation. And we have seen Tampines Treasure, Riverfront Residence, the 5 bedroom make about $800K to $1 million within a short span of 3 years. This may be something that you want to look at depending on what price the developer launch at. Well, so coming in here from the main entrance, you are greeted with an even wider living room of 4.7 meters and an even longer living cum dining at 7.2. This, if you go and see for yourself, is very beautiful, very spacious. It mimics how luxury properties look like in CCR. The 5 bedrooms here is something that you can really look at. No wastage of space inside the kitchen, yard, WC and bomb shelter. It mimics what you see in the 4 bedroom and even the 3 bedrooms. 5 bedrooms on the right side with the toilets in the respective place, coming together with a junior master suite as well as a master bedroom. To me, there's not much wastage of space down here. Balcony size may look big in the layout, but of course it is already restricted by URA policies. The certain size unit should have a maximum balcony space as well. Unlike the 4 bedroom premium, not much wastage of space in the foyer area. Quite ideal, quite optimized. In fact, very efficient for a 5 bedroom layout. And this one mostly faces the premium facing of the pool view. Now we move on to why I will not buy Parktown Residences. Number one, I have to wait for the completion of the MRT. So Parktown Residences is going to be completing likely in 2028. The MRT will only be up in 2030. Tampines North is actually quite a far place and it's something unfamiliar to me. So no offense to anybody who stay in Tampines. If you grew up there and you really like that location, that whole township, that whole environment that you grew up in because of familiarity, then by all means, that's what the Singapore decentralization is all about. But to me, being somebody that is non-familiar with Tampines itself already, to go even further to Tampines North is something that I will not or may not be able to accept, and I still need to wait 2 years more for transportation to come up. Accessibility is a key issue to me. So unless you're really working in this area, Tampines itself, or somewhere in the east, then I think maybe it will be more acceptable. But for me, definitely it is out of the question. Number two, I actually feel that the development is too big and too dense. Yes, it's true, the site plan is bigger than a lot of the integrated developments with 50,000 square meters. It's actually very sizable and can really cater to this group of people. But the thing is, having 1,200 units is always a concern for me. Number one, whether there will be overcrowding. Number two, whether there will be privacy And number 3, I always like it to be peace and quiet rather than having the whole town together with me. Maybe that's the reason why it's called Parktown Residences lah. But having 1,200 people, to me, I think as somebody that sometimes I go and look for houses that time, I also feel that it may actually be very, very congested, because I went to places like Normanton Park, Florence Residences, where they have very big land and they really cater to 1,000 to 1,200 residents. But with that in mind, actually to walk from one end to another end is already very far. But the most important thing is this: a lot of times the facilities are very crowded and a lot of disruptions and noise happening. So of course, everybody who is used to staying in a township area, definitely you may be okay to this, but for me, it's something that I may not be able to accept whenever I look for houses on my own. Number 3 will be the investment timeline. For me, the integrated development is something that takes a longer time to appreciate. If you are going something for the long run, I think Parktown Residences will be good with all the infrastructure coming in. But if for me, I'm always looking for short-term, mid-term, long-term options. The short-term options doesn't really seem that good down here in terms of Parktown. If I want to look at something that appreciates well within the next 3 years, Parktown may not be my number 1 choice. Reason being because integrated development, the entry price itself, because of the integrated status, you already are paying a premium on it already. And generally the premium is 300 to 400 PSF compared to the usual residential developments. Take for example Sengkang Grand Residences. It started selling from 1,700 per square foot, rise all the way to 2,000 per square foot on average, making an appreciation of 300 PSF. If we look at the profitability on its own, you will see Sengkang Grand, the highest profits are the 4-bedroom at 500k within 3 years, as compared to its nearby competitors like Riverfront Residences, which came out at the same time as Sengkang Grand Residences. They were the ones that was having 1,400, 1,300 PSF. You have the likes of Affinity, Florence and Riverfront Residences. All these were selling between 1,300 to 1,500 PSF. As compared to Sengkang Grand Residences, which was an integrated development as well, it started selling at 1,700 PSF. A 300 to 400 PSF premium placed on the integrated status. And look what happened. If we look at the figures down here, you will see the highest profit actually comes from the 4-bedroom being at 577k within 3 years. It's a decent amount, but if you look at Riverfront Residence itself, the 4 bedrooms generally make about 700k. Of course, if you look at the 3 bedrooms, the 1,000 square feet unit ones, because it's the 3-bedroom premium, it caters to the homestay needs. You still fare a bit better. It's about 390k to 492,000 between that range. And if we go for the smaller 3-bedroom compact at 936 square feet, 947 square feet, they generally only make about 350 or even 300,000, between 300,000 to about 380k. So in that point of view, because of the integrated status, the premium that you pay on it actually slows down the rate of your growth in terms of ROI. If we take a look at Woodleigh Residences as well, these are the numbers here. They also experience a similar phenomenon. Of course, we have to give it credit that maybe people buy it for own stay, the 3 and 4 bedrooms, especially the 4 bedrooms, there's not much units put on sale, and that's why we don't really have a transaction. But if we look at 3 bedrooms itself, they generally make about 600k for a 958 square feet. That's the biggest 3-bedroom they have also, of course within a 4-year time frame. In general, this is their price chart here. They grow from 1,900 PSF to 2,300 PSF. But mind you and take note, the reason why this growth may look a bit more is just because there are units facing the road that started selling at about 1,900 per square foot. But if we take a look at those facing the reservoir, they are generally hit with a premium and started selling at 2,100 per square foot. To 2001 to about 2004, about 300 to 400 PSF. Same story, right? And of course, if you look at Punggol Watertown, Punggol Watertown itself, this is the chart. They started selling at that point of time, about close to 12 years ago, at 1,500 PSF. Of course, to hit 1,500 PSF back then is really a very high amount. Alright, but because of the premium that is placed on the integrated status, that's why people see the prospects of it, but it's a much longer holding period. In fact, it took a dip to 1,200 PSF before climbing it back up all the way to about 1,800 PSF, like what we say, but this is over more than a 10 to 15 years time frame. So to me, if I am looking for something for a short-term appreciation, maybe the integrated transport hub developments may not be something that I will look at. I will actually be more mindful of the entry price per square foot or even the quantum. Now to further add on, if we look at the District 18 on its own, here is a list of properties, District 18. You will see that their average PSF range from 1,004 to 1,700 per square foot, with Treasures at Tampines leading the way. And here we have Pasir Ris with an average PSF of 1,837 PSF, between a range of 1,742 to 2,101 PSF. Depending on the launch price of Parktown Residences, we are trading in unprecedented path and era and time. So of course, we can always ride on the first mover's advantage of whatever that is being placed in Tampines North, and you are starting it off with a mixed development or integrated development like Parktown Residence. But like I say, if you're looking for something that has a 3 years short-term appreciation, it is very questionable. Here's one more point why I will not buy Parktown. Well, I got 4 points, you can see. But actually, this is genuinely from me to you as a consumer. I also want to share the same viewpoint as a consumer. To me, I'm somebody, when I look at houses that time, right, for my own use especially, I don't like to be part of the hustle and bustle. So yeah, I'm not sure whether have you been to mixed developments like Woodleigh Residences or what, where the bus depot is below, MRT is below, shopping mall is below. Yes, the convenience is there, but the minute you come down, even from your unit itself, you can sometimes even hear the buses going past and their brakes breaking or their suspension going in or this kind of sound. And especially the hustle and bustle when you come down from your residential development to the mall, sometimes it can be really quite stressful, especially you had a long day at work lah. Here's moving on to why I will buy Parktown. Number one, sustainability. Long-term sustainability is the key whenever you buy properties. While I mentioned just now that we will look at the short-term appreciation, but like I say, the purpose of why we buy property is always to preserve and build capital, and having options, mid-term to long-term options, is the reason why you choose Parktown Residences. Because of its rarity in the entire Singapore, in total we only have 9 developments that comprise of residential, commercial, integrated with a transport hub. They are mainly the Centuries, Hillian Residences, North Park Residences, Sengkang Grand Residences, Compass Height, Pasir Ris 8, Bedok Residences, and the Reserve Residences. If we look at the performance of all these developments, they have a long-term sustainability growth. Despite entering at a higher price in the past with a premium, as long as you hold it long enough, you would see bouts of appreciation over and over again, hitting new heights as time passes by. As the new generation learns to appreciate mixed development and its conveniences, there will always be this new group of resale buyers entering. Integrated developments can always cater to a few groups of people, and that gives you options. Basically like who? Upgraders itself, downgraders, or retirees. So I remember during that time when I was at the Pasir Ris 8 launch, in fact there were actually many of senior citizens actually buy, especially after the COVID scenario. Because why? They realize how convenient it is to actually be able to access a hawker center, a shopping mall, the MRT, the bus, basically wherever you want, it's just right downstairs at your doorstep. And then of course, if we look at the numbers itself, total between a period of 2001 all the way until 2023, we have a total of about 14 integrated developments with a total of 8,580 units in the entire Singapore that actually has something like this. With that rarity in supply, that's why if you look at the charts here as what I've shown you in terms of Punggol Watertown, in terms of Sengkang Grand Residences, in terms of Woodleigh Residences, they are all basically on an upward trend. But if you are expecting exponential growth, maybe you just need to hold on a little bit longer. Number 2, of course, is riding on the transformation. Just like our 3-phase transformation video, do click on the link below just to go and check out the video, and it will relate to what we are mentioning right now. We are, of course, in the announcement phase where we see the Cross Island Line, which is the Tampines North Station, being announced last year or 2 years ago, and then of course eventually completing by 2030. Usually we will wait for one phase after another, but just nice the government is doing 2 phases currently, meaning to say they are putting in the township as well as the mall and the integrated development even before the completion of the MRT. Alright, meaning to say the government is really fast forwarding things in terms of Tampines North, and they really want to develop this whole area into a hub on its own. So if we look at the similarities, we have Jurong West, where government mentioned that they have high ambitions for Jurong Lake District to be a site for sustainable living. We have Woodlands North, which is going to be a Woodlands Regional Centre. poised to take its place as the largest economic hub in Singapore's North region, and followed by Tampines, which is in the east area, where the town centres in Tampines, which they announced in October 2024, they said that URA said in an exhibition that is planning to rejuvenate the area around Tampines MRT station, the Tampines Regional Centre. So you will realise that the government is still focusing on the very strong decentralisation plans, and following our three-phase transformation framework, this has been sped up in a way. So you get the two phases coming together at the same time. You may actually get a bit more appreciation along the way, by the way. And here we have the article indicating that Tampines is actually Singapore's most well-connected regional centre. With such positive news in mind, it has already created an internal demand within the Tampines area, where you have lots of strong upgraders who have already started building their capital since quite a while back. And this will be an added sustainability point to Parktown Residences, as your exit strategy is already quite clear. The ready pool of demand of buyers are already in place. Now moving forward, let's talk about what I just mentioned previously, your ready pool of upgraders. So this is a map of Parktown Residences, and as you can see, the township was already in development for quite a while. You have Tampines Greenview, Tampines Greenwave, Tampines Greenwich, Tampines Green Court, Tampines Green Glen, Tampines Green Crest, whatever Tampines you can have and find here. Basically, all these are BTOs, existing HDBs that has its own population already here. And what's missing in this entire area? Previously, in order for conveniences and amenities, they have to go to Pasir Ris site to actually get all their amenities, their needs, their supermarket needs, groceries, so on and so forth. But with the introduction of Parktown Residences, finally whatever that is missing in this town is the gap has finally been filled, which is a mixed integrated development to cater to the needs of this township. And if you look at it, this is the total number of upgraders. We have 14,000 upgraders, 14 times of Parktown Residences. So you have the Tampines Green Glen, Green Crest and Green Glade that will MOP in 2029. Just nice, you TOP in 2028. If you buy today, naturally you'll be able to exit given this group of upgraders coming out. You have already the ones that are MOPing in Tampines Greenview and Greenwave. They MOP in 2024 and 2025. Tampines Greenwich also MOP in 2024. Means your ready group of buyers are here. But they have no choice but to choose the Pasir Ris cluster if they want to upgrade. Next, Costa Rivera. That one will be more on the Pasir Ris side of things. We have Costa Ris, the MOP in 2020. Tampines Greendale and Foliage, MOP in 2026. Green Vine in 2027, Green Court in 2027 and 2028, Green Verge in 2026. So you can see the pool of upgraders has already been built up along the way, by the way, for you over the many years. These people have already been equipped with a certain pool of capital. Using our 4Ps building capital concept, click on the link below if you want to check out the video and understand what is this 4P building capital concept. These people have already capital that will be able to upgrade to it. Now, if all those upgraders who are MOPing in 2024 and 2025 to 2026 and 2027, they have no choice but to choose something in Coco Palms, NV Residences, Elias Green, Dines. In fact, this ready pool of buyers may just be at the launch day itself competing with you. And with that in mind, such a densely populated area with no condo inside, Parktown Residences will be their only choice. High demand, low supply. Isn't this the ideal situation and scenario you want to be in? Here is a transaction list to further support this point. So if we look at November 2024, based on the URA itself, 608A and 609A, a 13 to 15 floor HDB 4-room and 5-room flat has been transacted at 810k to 935k. Assuming they bought their 4-room flat at about 300 to 500k thereabouts, they will be sitting on an additional capital of about 400 to 500k, well enough to pay for the down payment of your future exit price. Or today they may just be able to buy Parktown Residences as we speak. So think about it, the township is already here, the demand is already created for you. In fact, there is a pent-up demand over the years as these MOP upgraders continue to accumulate over the years from now all the way until 2028. Imagine the minute you TOP, you'll be already having this pool of MOP buyers ready for you, as compared to the likes of Woodleigh Residences, where the Bidadari still has to wait a couple more years before they MOP and finally they can buy into Woodleigh Residences as an upgrade. For Parktown Residences itself, it's already there. So finally, to wrap it up, why I will buy Parktown Residences based on the 3 pointers I mentioned to you, here is a roadmap of how things will look like. 2025, the Parktown Residences launches, you got your HDB clusters, MOP maturing along the way, all the way until you TOP in 2028, your SSD is over. From there, with the Paya Lebar Airbase redevelopment for your long-term goals, targeted completion of Changi Airport 5, targeted completion of your Cross Island line by 2031-32. Next, you will also see one more thing, the EC cluster MOP maturity is also in 2031 to 2032. That will give you an added demand, and you are the only condo in the area. Do they have a choice? They have no choice but to actually go for Parktown Residences, and you will see the full maturity of the new Tampines by 2035. So from now to then, if you are able to set aside 10 years, you will probably get a little bit of short-term appreciation, but your mid-term and long-term appreciation will grow exponentially due to all this high demand but low supply scenario. And given the transformation, once your Cross Island line completes, the government will definitely create even more infrastructure in this area and will create even more population here. That's the part where you will see Parktown Residences grow even more crazily. So now it comes to the price prediction of Parktown Residences. So drawing from previous lesson, this is probably the first batch of properties that come with harmonization. So if we look back to 2022, second half land sales, that was where Lentor Gardens was sold in a similar time frame, and Lentor Gardens has went on to become Lentor Mansions. That was the first ever GFA harmonized project that is launched in the entire Singapore. So we draw that lesson and we draw that case study and apply it to our mixed development here at Parktown Residences. If we look at Lentor Mansion, the land was actually sold at 985 per square foot per plot ratio and eventually launched at 2104 per square foot with an average pricing of 2271 per square foot, finally with the maximum at 2476 per square foot. If we apply this and we do a quick prorated calculation, we have Parktown Residences land being sold at 885 per square foot per plot ratio in a similar time frame belonging to the same batch of lands that were released by the government for second half 2022. So drawing from that case study itself, we can do a prorated calculation. Doing a prorated calculation down here, we take 2104 per square foot, which was the starting price of Lentor Mansion, divided by its land purchase price of 985 per square foot per plot ratio, multiplied by Parktown Residences 885 per square foot per plot ratio, and you will get 1890 per square foot. The average, we use the average of 2271 per square foot of Lentor Mansion divided by 985 multiplied by 885 per square foot per plot ratio, which is Parktown Residences land price. And then you will get 2040 per square foot for the average. Now we take the maximum spectrum of it, which is 2476 per square foot for Lentor Mansion, divided by 985 per square foot per plot ratio, which is Lentor Mansion's land price, multiplied by 885 per square foot, which is Parktown Residences land price. You will get 2224 per square foot. Now, of course, this is a mixed development. So looking at previous case studies, we see that the integrated developments generally have a 300 to 400 per square foot premium. So using that 1890 PSF starting, average of 2040 PSF, as well as 2224 PSF for the highest range, we add 400 PSF. It brings us to 2300 PSF starting, 2440 average price, 2624 per square foot for the highest price. The thing about Parktown Residences is this: the maximum height due to its height limit is only about 12 stories. So unlike Ori and Alta, which goes up to 40 stories, and the developer can really use the height to actually earn more profits, for Parktown Residences, the spread may be just a little bit different because the maximum they can go is only 12 stories. So they may need to factor in and spread out the profit a little bit more as the floor level progresses. They need to load it up a little bit more to ensure that they still have enough profit margin. So if we look at that in that sense, then probably the 2.3 per square foot may actually rise up to about 2.4 per square foot starting from, with an average of about 2.5 per square foot, and finally with the maximum at the 12th floor maybe at about 2,007 to 2,800 per square foot. Based on the indicators that I have on the ground, got a little bit of connections here and there, you know. From there, we are hearing that it's starting from 2.5, 2.6 per square foot or even 2.8 per square foot for the higher range ones, depending on which side of the premiums that you are actually getting from the units that you choose. So now let's head on to our evergreen scorecard. If based on the starting price of 2,400 per square foot and you are able to get into something at this price point, I think it's pretty good, all right, given how limited the supply in the entire market and how limited the project pipeline is in for 2025. If you can get something between 2,400 to 2,500 per square foot, my evergreen scorecard is a 6.5 out of 10. Because to me, the short-term appreciation is just not there. All right, you minus your stamp duties, you minus your maintenance, you minus your commission, interest rate, so on and so forth. My 300 PSF gets eroded very quickly away. All right, so if you are getting in at about 2,006 to 2,700 per square foot, that is a huge red flag. My evergreen scorecard drops to about 3 out of 10 with a much longer holding period, and we really need to see the transformation in Tampines, the new Tampines area, materializing before we can really exit. But to exit within a short term, I have huge questions about it, and this is actually one of the lowest that I've given in terms of my evergreen scorecard. So it really depends on what CapitaLand and UOL and Singland is also going to be launching at. Based on my personal experience, CapitaLand likes to price a premium because of the pride that they hold in their products, but there will always be UOL being very price savvy and very thoughtful for consumers. So let's see how these few developers come together and come to a consensus to benefit the consumers like yourself. So thanks for watching. If you like how my recent channel, the Essentials channel, has been building up with more insightful content, please continue to like, share and subscribe. Right, really share this to your friends, your families, and even for agents out there. I hope this is a very good learning and insightful channel for you. And sometimes I also know that my video is a bit longer, but because I always try to merge the concepts that I have on the ground from our essentials and merge it with the real life scenarios that we have and put it in the thought process of how a consumer would think. Bear with me and stay tuned all the way.